Right, gonna invite Julia into the room, so to speak. Hey, babe. So, hey, Julia.
Hi, honey. How are you?
Very well, yeah. Yeah, I've got my keys back to get in my apartment. I was locked out for about 3 hours today.
Yeah,
And I thought,
it nearly didn't happen,
I
right? Or at least
thought,
not with you.
yeah,
But we're here live. Thanks for inviting me. First, for having me.
I thought I would try and cycle uphill over to the other side of Barcelona, forgetting that it was quite a steep incline. And after 30 minutes, whew,
Well,
sweating.
we're
Oh,
here. We're here. I appreciate you. You've got a nice tan.
it's just a light above me. You too, glowing as always. So guys, yeah, today, if you are just joining, me and Julia are going to be chatting over why 90% of fitness advice you see out there, whether it's on Facebook, Instagram, perhaps TikTok, is BS. Now, so
And
90%,
that's
why have we?
a plot twist. That's why I wanted to interject. That's a plot twist because I bet that many people got caught by this statement. 90%, hang on. There is so much information circulating on social media, and how come that so much is BS? And this is exactly our strategy that most influencers are using. They're using bold statements,
Mm,
really phrases that are going to catch your attention and are clickbait. And here we are to disperse some of the myths. And we do believe we agree on certain points with Reese. Obviously, we do agree there is a lot of BS, but whether it's 90%, we're not sure. But you're here. Hopefully, um, we will
exactly.
explain some
Yeah,
points. Yeah.
yeah. So really, I think in the name of transparency, for you guys out there listening right now, we want you to really stop and think about what you're reading, and take the time to see whether it sounds like an outlandish, bold, perhaps controversial statement. Because the way that social media works these days, there's so much happening, there's so much going on. It's all about how people can grab your attention. So going back to what Julia was saying about explaining the 90% figure, that's
Yeah.
just us transparent here about how social media works. And for that reason, you guys should really be a bit more cautious about how much of that information you soak up. And we would recommend that you do a bit of research about that person, maybe look at their website, look at the previous content, get a good idea for who they are, what they stand for.
And this is
Because
obviously so obvious for us because we are part of this world. We create content. We want to educate people. We want to navigate people. But at the same time, we see what's happening. And those catchy hooks sometimes don't even match the caption or the video itself. And obviously, there is loads of new fitness gurus.
yeah,
People see that this is a good industry to make money. Social media is thriving. And we just want to make you aware of some myths and some BS. Shall we start?
exactly. And I think that's a good point because everybody these days is a fitness
Oh,
influencer.
yeah.
Loads of people
At
who haven't
least
got,
an influencer. Yeah.
yeah, and so many people who haven't got the experience, but they've seen other fitness enthusiasts or fitness specialists be successful, and then they feel like they can do the same. So yeah, there are just so many out there these days. So yeah, let's get on with it. What are we going to be chatting about? Remind me.
Yeah, so maybe before even jumping that, because you mentioned like fitness gurus, maybe a quick point on who we are, because probably not everyone from your audience knows me. I've been a coach for 10 years. I'm strength and conditioning coach. Loads of years on the gym floor before I jumped on the internet. So
Yep,
just to
you can
interject,
trust.
I believe I've got a bit of experience and kind of have seen a few things throughout the last 10 years. And obviously you're also very experienced. So we're not a lockdown new fitness gurus, because this was probably the biggest rise of
Yeah.
social media gurus,
Yeah,
right?
everybody had too much time to sit at home looking through,
Totally,
like,
totally.
feeling inspired by this. Maybe I can do the same thing.
Yeah, I mean, why not? But yeah, let's kind of base it on some knowledge and science. So yeah, we've decided to divide the discussion into three major areas that fitness encompasses: mindset, training, and nutrition. There is lots of BS on each of these subjects.
Yeah.
Where do you want to start? Shall we start with training? Because I
Yeah,
think it's
I
quite a
think
broad subject.
I think it's the first thing people think about, right? Training, and then second to that, maybe nutrition and maybe mindset. Even though I would usually say mindset
Agree.
is the most
Let's do
important thing.
it.
Let's start off with training. Yeah.
Training.
How about the
The first thing that comes to my mind
what's that?
is the outdated gym bro split. You know the drill. Monday, chest day. That's called
Yeah.
an international chest day. Tuesday, back. Wednesday, legs. Thursday, arms if you're lucky,
Mhm.
and so on and so forth. So training one muscle group per day and per workout. What do you think
Yeah.
about that?
And I would say the traditional push pull leg split. I think for most people, if they're looking on the internet, they'll find traditionally speaking they'll find that like push pull split, or like you say like chest day, back day, arms day.
I see a
Um,
lot
and
of that, even more than push pull legs. And it stems from the old school bodybuilding world where bodybuilders very often were enhanced and they could take loads of volume and train like beasts and were training at least 6 times a week.
yeah,
But for the general public, I don't think it has time and
yeah,
space. It is impossible, to cover the same as bodybuilders do. So we can't relate really
yeah.
to that world.
And
And that's why
the
I believe it's a
way
BS.
I
People kind of pushing this agenda. Yeah.
yeah, definitely BS. And the way I see it is, like we've all got busy lives these days. There's so much happening. The if God forbid, like somebody miss a workout, one workout or two workouts, then at least if you do hit more than one muscle group in, say, session one, session two, session three, if you make it, then at least you kind of covered yourself in the respect that you have worked, each and every muscle group to some degree, or hopefully most of the muscle groups, as opposed to like if you were to say do Monday chest day, Tuesday back day, Wednesday arms day, and then you miss out your arms day, or perhaps even a leg day on Friday. At least if you combine several muscle groups together, you've kind of got that peace of mind.
Yeah, exactly.
Um,
The solution is joining the muscle groups and training them at least twice a week for the maximum optimal stimulus one and performance too. Like also talking about the general public, I work with women, professional women that very often have families and kids, and training 6 times a week is just not possible, like not realistic. And if we were dividing every muscle group, right, per day, per workout, we would be leaving a lot behind. And like you said, if you skip a workout, you've missed a muscle group. Also, training the same muscle twice a week, let's say doing push pull together in one day and push pull together the other day in the same week, but just changing the exercises, just basing it on the mechanics of the movement, covers you for maximal exertion that you can achieve per workout.
yeah,
Like let's look a woman that, or a man, I know we work with men, it actually applies to both. Like someone that comes highly unconditioned is not going to be able to be training back for an hour and a half or hour, the whole full hour with the same intensity and probably not in a safe manner.
yeah, completely agree with you. And the way I see it is consistency always wins. We know that in every respect, whether it's putting the time in to learn a language every day, building a relationship, building your career. It's about consistency over time. So by that nature, like we know that it's better to be able to. I feel like this. Maybe you might see it differently, but I feel like it's better to hit those muscles more consistently across the week, as opposed to like really condensing all of that attention, as you kind of just alluded to, like into like say an hour specifically of one area, and then not having more opportunities during the week later to hit that again after you've rested, after you've recovered.
Yeah, yeah, totally agree. So we're saying no to the typical gym's bro split.
Yeah.
We're saying train the muscle. No, there's going to be more of that. And what comes to my mind, quite closely connected with the gym bro split, is the more is the better. Like the more the better. The more exercises, the more, volume. What do you think about that? Do you know what I mean?
Okay, right. Hold up, because if you're talking about like going to fatigue, like really pushing into fatigue, I would say that I'm all for that. I really believe that exertion in the gym is one of the most underrated things, and things that people well, underestimate really, is how hard they're pushing in the gym. Because yes, turning up is one part of it, but also we need to make sure that every workout is like really effective, and like we're pulling
I
faces, like we're really stressing out.
don't mean that. I don't mean that. I know what you mean. Exertion, intensity, that's what you're saying, right? You're talking
Yeah,
about going close to failure and working close to failure. Not necessarily failure every single time, but sometimes even hitting failure so to know where actually it lies. I don't mean that. I mean the more the better. By that I mean more volume, more sets, more reps, more exercises. So people trying to pack, and that's what why I'm saying it. I see it with many women training crazy without sort of structure and system, doing workouts sometimes like it's very
no,
very
no
rarely
pain,
strength training. Hmm.
no pain, no gain.
Or no pain no gain. Yeah, I mean the total volume, whereas like general public doesn't even know what's the right amount of sets per muscle group that is optimal, because there is something like a kind of point where we are more counterproductive, actually working on the muscle, not letting it recover,
What would you
and also hitting a certain number of sets.
say?
You gain very little, if not you overtrain, and then kind of delay the recovery, and we know that we grow during recovery. That's what
Absolutely.
I meant.
Yeah,
Do you follow me now?
yeah. So I would generally put that figure between, depending on how much time um, you guys have listening to this, depending on how much time you have to spend on working out, somewhere between 10 and 20 sets per muscle group. So if you are going over that and overtraining above and beyond that, then yeah, at that point there's like a graph, and you would start declining. Your results would start declining because of your overtraining. So I think that just really stresses the importance of, yeah, like you want to go hard and you want to like push to fatigue in the gym, but at the same time there is a cap on that with
A
volume.
cap on that. I like it. Yeah, that's that.
With volume, yeah.
Yeah,
So
that's it. So when you said 10, 20 rep a set, sorry, per muscle group, that would obviously differ on the level of a fitness level of someone. So beginners obviously sitting at the lower end, and more advanced at 20 sets. But we have to remember that compounds will target the same muscle groups, not in isolation, by compound movements. So sometimes you do legs, and like with women, again, I'm going to refer, but men to chest, but then you're hitting your triceps, you're hitting your shoulders at the same time, and then doing a separate
right,
tricep day makes no sense and is actually counterproductive, going by that cap metaphor.
yeah, and also I think going off of that, for those who have like seen lots of classes happening and like hit classes, and they're looking to actually build lean muscle, um, I would I would put across to that, because if your intention is to
I'm
build
not
muscle,
with you.
because because even though you're going to be moving a lot, which is great in terms of burning calories, getting your body fat down, sweating it out, if you're seriously putting your muscle under tension, and looking at progressive overload, which is a really important aspect, as we know, for building lean muscle, then that's much more likely to happen with like an actual weight-based program, as opposed to the classes that we see out there a lot.
If you try
Not to say,
for general fitness to move more, why not? I'm never going to cross the classes, but if you want to intentionally improve your aesthetic, you have a performance goal, a strength goal, you have to have a structured program with progressive overload, of course. And classes are what they are. They are for general public. No one, none of those instructors has you in mind and your progression. It is just supposed to be
yeah,
fun,
yeah.
formal social event, really. So definitely no to classes.
It works. I hear it a lot though, because like I know that there are whole tribes around, CrossFit and classes. People have been doing body pump, booty pump. Is it booty pump? Body pump? Body pump?
It's LBT, something within those
Yeah.
lines. I
These
don't know. Yeah.
sort of
It's all
classes that they've been doing.
about booty pump, you know?
Booty pump, not body pump. There we go. There's some branding right there if it hasn't been done already. Booty pump. But like the point being, yeah, I know that lots of people love that, and it works because it is sociable, and being in a team supports the motivation, like keeping going, feel like you're part of something. Which, like I said, it's great if you're looking to move more, perhaps shed some pounds. But if your focus is, I think, for building muscle mass, which a lot of our clients intend to do, rather than just drop the weight,
Well,
like you.
I'm going to interject for muscle building. So it's very important. I work with lots of fat loss clients, fat loss as well, because fat loss is literally changing the ratio of muscle mass to body fat. So in order to do that, we need to obviously develop lean muscle mass, and we still need a structured program. And many fat loss clients think that classes are superior over strength training because they sweat more, they move more, their heart rate is higher. But that is not true. We still need to stick to the same principles as in hypertrophy and muscle gain phases as to in fat
Yeah,
loss. So
yeah. And yeah,
classes.
right before we move on to something else, also, like, let's consider if you were in a class and you were doing lunges, and you had like um, a 20 kg or something that was challenging for the lunge, maybe like 10 kg per dumbbell, holding it by your
Yeah.
chest, and
Yeah.
then asked to incorporate a side lateral raise or like a shoulder press or something. What you're going to find in that situation is
It's a shit form, sorry, because it's going to be too heavy.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So your form is going to be compromised, and like you might not quite get to that progressive overload or fatigue element with both muscles, because of course you can't quite get the right technique with, to say, the 20 kg total dumbbells you might have for your lunge or
Yeah,
for
so
your squat.
it's never optimal for either or. Like it might be too heavy or too light for either or muscle. Like obviously going by the button, bigger muscle groups like legs,
And
glutes.
there's a lot of rush
Definitely.
through the classes, lots of rushy.
Yeah.
Maybe just got like
Yeah.
two
Lots of
pairs of different.
shouting, lots of noise. It's nice, it hypes you. But again, it's general fitness more than working towards a particular goal. You mentioned no pain, no gain. What do you mean by that?
Yeah, so I mean, I see that as getting to the point. For me, like I would agree by the idea of no pain, no gain, in the respect that I think it's really important to push to fatigue. However, if we think about overtraining, yeah, overtraining, like we said, that's something that if you've seen that out there, you must do more. You must keep pushing harder. You must have more days, more workout days in place. I think that's, yeah, going back to what we were saying earlier. I think we kind of covered that on my part. Did you want to add anything else?
No pain, no gain. I thought more of people expecting to be sore
Uh,
after every workout and having it as a benchmark of a good workout. And this is a total trap and a total BS again. This is actually a BS. Like I said, there's so much. Oh, I was thinking about it. There's so much merchandise with this logo, no pain, no gain, and people proudly wearing it. Whereas it's actually BS because the only soreness that you're going to develop is through a new stimulus, new input. So if you're starting a routine or if you change an exercise, then you're going to get sore. But later on, if you're constantly sore doing the same routine and progressing, you probably have too big of a volume and you're not letting your muscles recover. And again, recovery equals growth. So if you're constantly sore, there's something wrong.
yeah,
And we should not be looking for that soreness after, I don't know, 6 weeks in of the same routine.
yeah, actually, and I think
Hi, Bobby.
yeah,
Mhm.
that's something that a lot of people misinterpret as well. And in the program, I've often had clients discuss this with me, because they're under the impression that after every single workout, they should be finding it difficult to move, difficult
Yeah,
to get
and
up their head, to shampoo their hair.
exactly.
But
Do you have it as well with new clients that they come to you and like, oh, I'm not sore, I'm not in pain. I'm like, that's good. You shouldn't be in pain. If anything, we're looking for soreness, tightness in the pump. Pain signals there is something wrong with the body. So we're looking for soreness, but not in week 6 if
yeah,
the routine hasn't been changing, but you are progressing, right?
yeah, I would say, like, expect the pain first few weeks, maybe 2 to 4 weeks of a new program. Your body's adjusting to the stimuli in a different way, so we can expect that to happen. But like beyond that point, it's not a good sign if your muscles are.
It's not a good sign. Yeah, we're not looking for that. And probably I suggest you take a week of deload, if anything, and then move on. Like deload, just a side note, is dropping your weight by 30-40%, even continuing the same routine, but letting your body rest. Believe me, no professional athlete is constantly hammering every week, going towards any competition or event. Constantly progressing. We need time off. We need to one step back in order to
About
progress at times.
think about now you mentioned it, athletes and Olympians, like they have an absolutely meticulous wellness regime, and that wellness regime is all about recovery. It's all about uh, the finer details of what their sleep looks like, sauna, uh, ice baths, all of these additional things to really allow for greater recovery. So yeah, I feel like recovery. Yeah, actually, now you mentioned like no pain, no gain. If it's misinterpreted, then as like you really have to work out every single day, and you have to be sore after every single workout. Yeah, I think that's something we
We
can say
put a cross on it, babe. We put a
we
cross.
can say that's BS. But I just want to say before we tie that up, just for those out there like who have got the merchandise for no pain no gain, and I subscribe by that idea. That's not to say that we shouldn't be like really hitting those workouts hard, get into fatigue. But it just what we mean by that is you shouldn't be feeling sore after every single workout, and
Yeah,
your
the thing is still working, like you mentioned before, working at the right intensity, close to failure. I always go
yeah.
by reps in reserve more than, oh, how hard is it? Like, how many repetitions can you do with a good form or
Ah,
before you actually fail,
yeah,
mechanical or muscular failure? How far are you from that point? Is it 1 rep away or is it 5 reps? If it's 5 reps, you're holding back. If it's one and you're not sore, great. If you've been doing the same routine week 8, 10, you're still 1 away from failure and you're still sore, you need a recovery, right? And a week of deload.
Dylan,
Do you know what?
I
Go on.
maybe on the same track
I've
here
got a
because
thought.
talking um, about
Thanks, Vince.
progress and numbers and reps and measuring that because I know, and some of my clients in the past as well have been very vocal about the fact that they get irritated or frustrated if they're not hitting like a PB every single
Oh my
week
God.
uh,
Yes.
because they measure their progress in the weight going up every single week, right? What
It
do you think
gets
about
frustrated. It's the 4th week and no PBs. Like, how long have you been training for? I'm going to ask you from that angle. How long
that?
have you been training for? Like, not as a coach,
Yeah.
but training for.
Oh yeah, I've been training for 13 years, so I don't know about you, but if I hit a PB every 2 weeks, that'd be really nice.
I mean, listen, the gym wouldn't be big enough for your gains. And yeah, probably it would be hard to feed you if you were growing with like accordingly with those PBs. Like I have the same thing with my female clients. They get upset. The weight hasn't moved, like the weight of the lift hasn't moved. Like I can't get the hip thrust by 5 kilograms. It's like, babe, it takes years. And yeah,
Yeah,
what we should look is other ways of progressing.
yeah, this is it because there's so many ways we can measure progress. But I mean, I can understand because it's exciting when you're tracking the numbers and you see the numbers go up for the weights. I think that's probably for most people the most exciting part, as opposed to like an additional rep or feeling like they've got more control over the movement, noticing the mind muscle connection more as they're training. These are exciting, but I think it's really exciting when you see like your weight increase. So people start getting like laser focused into that, and like we just said, like we've been training for 13 20 years or whatever, and in that time, yeah, 20 years or so, I imagine for you, and yeah,
It's
in
been
that
12 years in the gym, but I've been doing other performance sports before. 12 years in the gym, and I'm totally with you on it. We can't progress only by numbers. And if it feels lighter, if you control it better, if it feels easier, you feel like you're actually in charge of the lift. That's your progress. Because think also how you felt about the lift last week with the same weight. And it can be actually very dangerous if you only get fixated over the numbers, because then you're going for whatever, like whatever the price, I'm gonna go heavier, and
Mm.
then the form is compromised, and
Yeah,
obviously you're more prone to injuries.
yeah, and it's a difficult thing to weigh up, so to speak, because um, obviously we want to be like one aspect of progressing overloads, one aspect of you guys out there listening, seeing more progressing, whether it's more fat loss or more lean muscle mass, is to do with increasing the volume, so increasing the reps, increasing the weight. Um, so it's really a combination of these things, and like time under tension, the control, like Julia said, how confident you are with the movement, whether you're noticing just that it feels like a better and easier movement for you. And so I can understand like how people can get really transfixed on the numbers, but yeah, I just want,
But we're doing this, Reese.
yeah,
Like the
to
progression by load is not the only benchmark,
yeah,
and you shouldn't get fixated because it can get dangerous. Yeah, be smart, and again, assess every set, and the form is probably more important than the load at some points. Like you have to be smart. You can't be just hoping for PBs every week.
yeah. I mean,
The simplest way. Yeah.
there's some exercises that are very dangerous if you're so.
I mean, that's the thing. I used to train with men, and I noticed more with men that, um, constant strive for more weight and in terms of the load, whereas women probably are a little bit more fearful sometimes, especially at the beginning with weights. But it's, I would say, more dominant of men that they want to have to lift heavier, compromising form,
Yeah,
and holding back, losing on many games because of that.
yeah, that's a really good point actually, and I think that's what we talk about ego lifting. That's what we talk about doing it for your reputation because you feel like lifting more is going to be better, and that's certainly where you're going to fuck up your shoulder or your knee, and then
Not to mention lower back.
oh yeah, that's a
Reese,
pesky one.
I'm gonna butt in. Let's move on because
Yeah,
I think we've done really a lot about training, but I know many of my clients in particular are interested in nutrition. I don't want to miss on that.
yeah,
What do you think is the first thing that comes to mind? The biggest BS?
yeah. Well, we spoke about this.
Push,
Yeah,
yeah, of nutrition.
so I would say, and okay, first up, I would say that it's this idea of clean and
Mhm.
junk, or
Mhm.
but I will say, like, and I can say, and I say this honestly, like, even as somebody who knows this, and will try and coach my clients around the way they speak about this, I will even fall victim to this. And I thought about it, and I think about the terminology behind diet break, right? So we ask our clients to have a diet break, right?
Mhm.
This is something.
Oh, I fall into that because I use this terminology because it's so common. Whereas, really, any form of what you eat is a diet. Is it whether it's good, like nutritious or non-nutritious, is another story. What do you mean by clean eating?
Yeah, so
Why is it ABS?
yeah, the idea is that for me at least, I feel like everything has a place, and nothing. Again, it goes back to this idea of like social media being very polar opposites, black and white, good and bad. Clean or unclean, clean or dirty foods. Um, to capture attention. But actually, like it's about balance. We know it's about balance. We know that it's about what your nutrition looks like over a week period and even a month period. So
Mm.
so we don't want to get focused on a pizza being bad or a burger being bad or your chocolate being bad because they serve a purpose in the right
Yeah.
amounts, right? They and actually they help, for, especially if you're on like a diet, so to speak.
Yeah.
That if you're
It's
on a
hard
period.
to avoid that terminology, right?
Like,
Yeah.
exactly. So if you're on a period where your intention is to eat more nutritious foods, then you need your less nutritious foods just to keep things in order so you don't feel like completely overwhelmed. We all need that from time to time. Just about what, for me, it's about what the balance looks like over a week period. Um, yeah,
You know what? You're saying clean eating. I do get your point, but very often when we refer to bad and good food, we actually mean what's been done to food, because we're not talking about moral standards. Oh, it's good, it's bad. It's food. Food is food, for God's sake. So you want to think, you're probably thinking about bad food or processed food is what food industry does to certain products that are natural, like cocoa beans, great, but what you do to them, how much palm oil you add to it, and how many preservatives or any other additives that prolong their shelf life. This is bad, but food is food. And still, talking about balance, I believe even if we eat slightly more processed food, I mean, if we eat more processed food, but in a moderate amount, is not gonna be a biggie, you know. But we only talking problems about good, bad diet, and that if you there is too much of processed foods with lots of additives and preservatives and too little of whole foods. And remember that food industry makes that food addictive and highly palatable, so that those whole foods are not that appealing anymore to people, and that is bad, and that is food industry rather than food itself.
yep, completely agree with you there. Um, I think going back to balance, as long as we have good ratios, moderate to little amounts of processed foods.
Do
Um,
you follow 80-20 rule?
I,
Do you agree with this?
I kind of agree with like at least 70-30, 80-20 rule with more nutritious to less nutritious,
Yeah.
not good or bad. We need to try and see it as nutritious and less nutritious, because that then takes away the guilt and the shame that's often felt with eating something that, like a burger. But and that can then spiral as well. Like if someone feels that shame and that guilt, that can then lead to an absolute binge, and then like the whole weekend may be like loads of alcohol, more burgers, more takeaways, and then it could be considered bad because you've taken it out of balance. So us choosing that wording, like you guys thinking about the way that you see these foods, is really going to help you not to spiral, and also identify that food as having a purpose. Like you say, food is food. It's about what that balance looks like, and how the quality of your protein, whether you're having too many refined carbs, too much sugar. These are things that we want to keep an eye on. But I think we're
But
putting across.
without labeling, and that's a fantastic point. Um, that labeling food as good or bad leads to guilt, shame, and binge eating and toxic relationship with food. And we know that some parts of less nutritiously foods are maybe not ideal and not nutritious, but then all in all, if you keep the balance, it shouldn't be labeled in these terms. And
Yeah,
we're coming to mindset, because that is closely connected. Food, toxic relationship with food, and by horrendous labels put on food, we're coming to mindset. Does anything
yeah,
come to your mind about
yeah,
mindset?
something. Yeah,
BS present on the social media?
yeah. I just want to, before we get there, because I'm just conscious of time as well. Let's just summarize what we're saying. Is BS. What we're saying is BS so far, just to lay that out. So we're agreeing that like gym bro splits, or this idea of like chest day, back day, biceps, etc. That's
BS.
BS. Yep. We're saying like too much volume leading to overtraining. No pain, no
Which
gain.
is more is better. It's not necessarily better. That's BS.
Yes. We're saying labeling food as good and bad, clean or dirty.
BS and no pain, no gain is a
and also
BS.
and also progress by numbers. Like you must be seeing the weight go up
So we have
every.
six BS statements pushed through
Think
the
it,
industry. And there's always someone behind those statements, that is benefiting. So we also have to be cautious, like you said at the beginning. Who's pumping
yes,
that info? Who benefits from calling things this way?
as a,
Yeah, we should be wrapping up, and I think mindset is a nice touch.
yeah.
So we like throw one mindset thing that comes to your mind.
I love
Maybe I can add something.
yeah. Well, you know me. me, I mean, I'm all about the mindset, and that's something that I actively teach the guys within the community to recalibrate and to change the way that they're thinking about certain things. Because I'm a big believer that, especially, I mean, outside of the fitness world, but even in the fitness world, I really feel like the mindset is has a huge part to play. However, um, I will say that I have seen out there this sort of phrase that, like, you have to want it bad enough to see the results.
Oh.
Like, want to get the results, you have to want.
And if you don't want it bad, or if you don't achieve it, you didn't want it bad enough. That's what you mean.
Aha, yeah,
Uh-huh. Oh
which
my
is
God,
yes,
that
right?
is
Because
brutal. That is brutal, and it's total BS. Let's start. It is a BS. So many people want it bad enough, but what do you think is the reason why this is BS, and what is the reason that
yeah,
people actually
I,
wanting things badly don't get the
well,
results?
I feel like people always want things badly. Like of course we see things, we're drawn into it, and we're like, oh my god, I really wish I had that body. So it's not, we know that doesn't make any sense. Like if everybody really wanted something, then everybody would have it, but they don't. So it can't, that can't. I don't think it's like you have to want it more.
It's very harmful to be saying that, because that makes people's emotions and feelings and desires invalid. And I have so many women joining after extreme diets, intermittent fasting, 500 calories, carnivore, doing 6 classes a week, or sometimes training twice a day, running. Like, don't tell me they don't want it and they are not committed, because it's brutal. It's actually
Yeah,
harmful, and it creates more toxic relationship with fitness. The reason why the results don't happen is not because of not wanting things enough. What do you think it is? I've got a
yeah,
few on my mind.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I love it. I like really getting into it now.
Mm.
I can see the passion. Because
Yeah, because it's horrendous to be saying that.
I completely agree with you. Uh, like yes, you need some motivation, and you need to get some consistency, but you're not going to be able to just like want it more and then that's going to happen. You need to have the right component in place. So for me, like, it's really about structure and having the right people around you, um, having good ways of tracking your progress that lead you to be more motivated rather than less motivated, because there are better ways of tracking your progress that you can get excited about than, say, stepping on the scales. For me, it's like how your clothes fit, um, how the take measurements, like actually tracking these things with measurements, photos, obviously. I'm a little bit against using the scales predominantly. So what I was saying with the progress there is it's about making sure that you have something that you can get behind, and also you have reinforced. You have people that are gonna keep you going. You have structure, so you have a way of knowing what you should be doing on a day-to-day basis. That's built uh, and all of these things are going to keep people consistent. So that's where, like, an effective program comes in. That's where the right approach to nutrition comes in, understanding where your macros should be, and adjusting them accordingly rather than just guesstimating. Um,
Yeah, it's basically all about systems and strategies that are tailored to you, and that require smart planning. Like we said, more is not always better.
yeah,
Pain is not good, and you need smart strategies that are suitable for you, for your lifestyle. And obviously, mindset is key. You need, like, I believe everything starts from there, but having wrong environment, or even having a coach that doesn't know how to take you out of the negative loop, might not be enough for
yeah,
you to succeed. So there's so many components of a success, and it's quite complex. I always see fitness and any successes, any goals, as very, very holistically. So, like, saying that you don't want it enough, like, no, I always say, if you're not seeing the results, it's the system that failed you. So we need to look at the system, and that's where probably I believe we come to play, as we have the space and time to lead and look for methods that are going to work, because there's no cookie cutter, there's no one thing fits all, as always, as any time in anything. But that's how important it is to have the right support.
Yeah, yeah. And let's be really transparent. Like, we all know that there are AI bots out there now, and chat GPT options. So like that does exist. And if somebody really wanted some cookie cutter program, they could find that out there. But that's not, that hasn't got the heart behind it. That hasn't got the empowerment behind it.
Yeah.
It hasn't got really wants that person to achieve. And and the adjustments that are needed along the way, the changes, because that person's mood is different. They've got different obstacles coming in. Perhaps their work stresses are taking over, or relationship troubles. So all these things, it's just life. Life coming into play. And ChatGPT and AI, things like that, they don't take into consideration
Do
life.
you know why
And that
I'm laughing? I'm smiling. I'm not laughing. I'm smiling because you said relationships, and what came to my mind is it's like with love, and relationships. Some relationships don't last, even though love was present. So love is not enough, and wanting is not enough. You need boundaries, systems, communication,
yeah,
and strategies, and like wanting. Uh, is like, I believe all people that embark on the process do want it badly enough. Like asking for help is probably enough of the proof. Um,
it's just
but wrapping, yeah,
and the adjustments, and yeah, I think like the love, the actual, and that's why our coaching is effective, because you have somebody that cares for you, that actually wants you to achieve. So I think, yeah, just to sum that up, we're saying that having to want it bad enough is not ideal. If you're saying
yeah.
that.
It's if you hear someone telling you, "Oh, you didn't want it bad enough, that's why you didn't achieve your goals," it's BS. The system has failed you, and you probably didn't have good strategies or smart planning strategies. And on that note, I believe we want to mention
Pause.
something that
Uh,
da,
right,
da, 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 drums. Okay, the mic drop is we're both doing a free 14-day challenge. I'm doing a summer shred challenge for busy women, 30 plus, which is starting on the 14th of April. So all things considered, mindset, nutrition, training, all customized to you ladies, um, and it's completely free. So it's a no-brainer. And Reese, you're also doing something, right?
oh yeah. Yep. So also, I'm running a 2-week free Easter fitness challenge, to keep you guys in order, especially over this period where chocolate can crank up, and you can feel that inclination to grab an Easter egg. So if you want to have something that's going to keep you in alignment a bit better, with a team around you, to support you, and regular accountability, consistency, fitness tasks, better understanding around nutrition, so fitness challenges, better understanding around nutrition, then that's what the 2-week Easter fitness challenge is about.
And just
And
to make it clear, it's two separate challenges. We're not doing them together. Reese is doing to his audience, and I'm doing to my ladies. So if you're interested in my challenge starting on the 14th, just message me directly at Julia Cobrin with K Fitness. That's my Instagram, Julia Cobrin Fitness, and text me the word shred, and I'll send you more details.
can I get in on that as well if I text you shred?
Are you a busy woman, 30 plus?
I've got a wig somewhere in the wardrobe, maybe.
Might consider you. I'll send you a consultation form. Let's see if you're a good fit.
I'm bypassing the consultation form. I ain't got time for that. But your girls have got time for that. And yeah, just to finish up, there. So 14-day challenge, for you guys out there watching this. As of Monday coming, that's when we're launching. There's already a group of us in this community, and there are a couple of spots available. Doors are closing on Friday, so make sure that you do DM me Easter, if you want to know more about that, and potentially we can get you into the group so that you're ready to go on Monday with this 2-week fitness challenge.
And good luck to anyone that signs up. And I would like to thank you very much for today's live. I've really enjoyed it, actually. I think
Yeah,
we covered quite a fair bit of BS. Do you think?
I think we're going to a regular thing as well.
I think I'll see you
Bye,
soon.
babe.
And hopefully more people joining that live. Um, big love, always. Have a lovely evening. Love it.
Okay, buona serata.
Bye.